When people talk about cybersecurity, the conversation usually starts with tools, controls, or incidents. But after nearly 2 decades of working on large scale platforms and transformations, I've come to a very simple conclusion. Cybersecurity is not primarily a technology problem, rather, it's a leadership decision. Here is why. Most cybersecurity decisions are not about right versus wrong. They're about trade offs. Trade offs between speed and safety, between the cost and control, between user experience and risk. Technology can present options, but only leadership can decide which risks are acceptable and why. When that decision is unclear, cybersecurity becomes reactive, teams overcompensate, delivery slows down, and friction creeps in. Another misconception, which is quite common, is that better tools can automatically lead to better security outcomes. In reality, many organizations with best in class tools still struggle. Why? Because cybersecurity outcomes reflect leadership alignment, not tooling. When business, technology, and risk leaders are misaligned, no tool can fix that gap. That becomes even more visible as organizations scale platforms globally, especially through global capability centers. At scale, cybersecurity stops being a control problem and becomes a platform and operating model problem. Questions like who owns decisions, what are trade offs, how are they escalated, where does accountability sit, and many more. These leadership questions are not technical ones. These are clearly leadership questions. There is also myth that security and speed are opposites. In my experience, the opposite is true. When leaders clearly define risk appetite and decision boundaries, teams move faster, clarity accelerates delivery. Ambiguity, in fact, slows down everything. Cybersecurity incidents and regulatory deadlines don't test technology first, they test decision quality under pressure. How quickly leaders assess incomplete information, how clearly they communicate, how decisively they act. That is leadership. In mature organizations, cybersecurity becomes almost invisible, not because it is ignored, but because it is well embedded into everyday decision making. It becomes executive hygiene. And finally, the role of leadership in cybersecurity is not to create fear, it is to create clarity. Because when decisions are clear, teams execute with confidence. And when teams execute with confidence, both cybersecurity and delivery improve. So, if cybersecurity feels like a constant struggle, it's worth asking, are we trying to solve a technology problem or are we avoiding a leadership decision? Thank you.